best technique which I learnt over the years that completely changed my life in a fairly short period of time was persuading myself that I was loved. You read about and hear about other people telling you that you've got to love other people, that you've got to love yourself. But nowhere have I seen it written or heard it said that you need to know that you yourself are loved by God, by the universe, by the goddess, by whatever power you believe in. And when I managed to get this through to my unconscious mind that I was loved, then a type of abundance came into my life that was completely beyond belief. At the peak of it, it was like taxi drivers in London refused to take money off me. The bus drivers in London refused to take money off me. I was travelling around London free, all for half price. I had 2 restaurants, one of which fed me free, the other of which charged me 50% of the bill, and that restaurant even gave my friends 10% off when they turned up without me. It's like everywhere I went, people gave me things. Shops would give me things really cheaply or for free. It was just an amazing turn of abundance in all directions. And I got to the stage when I knew that if I suggested to anybody that the world hated me, they would know I was lying, as I knew that I was lying then. Now, in the early days, I had 2 methods to teach myself that I was loved. As I went around in life, like if I was standing on a platform in the underground, I would imagine that the platform loved me. I would imagine that the walls of the underground loved me. I would imagine that the adverts in the underground loved me. And then I progressed for walks in the countryside when I was in the countryside, and I would imagine that the trees loved me, and the grass loved me, that the sky loved me. In the streets of London I even imagined that the rubbish loved me. And after, I used to sometimes go out for special little walks of say 20 minutes or half an hour with no other agenda than to look at things and to know that they loved me. And this I did pretty well on a daily basis for quite a few weeks. Of course it got me exercise as well, which was good. And then I noticed how things started to change, how people started to smile at me in shops. They no longer blamed me for things I hadn't done like they used to. And yes, my bank, I remember once not taking commission off a friend of mine I'd taken into cash traveller's cheques, saying, "Oh, but she's a friend of yours, Miss Bruce. No, we won't charge her anything." It was just uncanny, the things which happened during that time. I mean, they didn't all keep up forevermore, although sometimes still cab drivers say, "Oh, fare looks a bit high, give me a little less." And now, of course, I've reached the time when I can travel free on public transport anyway. Much more recently, I discovered an even quicker way to persuade myself that I was loved. It is actually something that you can't just do once and persuade yourself and then never do again for the rest of your life. It is something you have to practice on and off throughout your life. And I found that the quickest way was self-hypnosis. And the best time to use was when I was trying to go to sleep at night. And I'd say it over and over in my mind, "I know that I am loved. I know that I am loved." I'd say it quite slowly at about that speed. I'd then say, "You know that you are loved. You know that you are loved," as if somebody else was saying it to me. Occasionally I said, "Philena knows that she is loved," but personally that one didn't work as well for me as the other 2. And the other one I used was, "Remember you are loved," or "I remember that I'm loved," as if somebody a very long time ago, probably before I was born, had told me that I was loved and would always be loved. And I was saying to myself, "Remember you are loved," trying to bring back that memory. I found it did help to try and get a feeling of being loved at the same time. It helps if you just have one memory in your life of one moment when somebody or some animal loved you, and you can reconstruct the feeling in your head as you say, I know that I am loved. You can also say it when you're watching the kettle boil, or when you're lying in the bath, or having a shower, waiting at the bus stop. You don't actually need to waste any of the rest of your life with this technique. It's quite a good habit to get into, so that you say a few times a day, every day to yourself, I know that I am loved. So I found that knowing that I am loved dealt with pretty well every situation that needs dealing with in my life. It didn't matter whether I needed to find somebody to help me lift a bag onto a conveyor belt in an airport, or whether I needed more money to come into my bank account, or I needed more friends in my life. It didn't matter what the subject matter. Just knowing that I was loved would immediately help that subject matter. So therefore, knowing that you are loved is the only healing technique you actually need. However, you may find, like I did in the very early days of my healing career, that it's difficult to persuade yourself that you are loved. I know at the very beginning, when I was told by my guru, Father B. Griffiths, that I was definitely loved by God, otherwise I wouldn't be alive. When he told me that, I just didn't believe him. It was years after that before I could even contemplate the idea that I might be loved. So if, like me, you find knowing that you are loved pretty hard work, you might find it easier to start with one of the other healing techniques in my book.